Hey y'all, Adventure Brad here, and I wanted to sit and talk to you about two-wheel adventure camping, four-wheel adventure camping. What are the differences? What are the things you should think about? Why do I love both of them? So let's get into it. First off, what do I mean by that? Two wheels, scooter, um, dual sport motorcycle, adventure motorcycle. This could apply to Harleys with bags on them, Ferragos with bags on them. It don't matter. If you're going to go camping on a little motorcycle, this works. I guess this would also apply to bicycle camping. You could also say maybe jet skis versus boats. So, anyways, on the four-wheel side, you could have boat camping or carry more gear, but we're not getting into the liquid sports here. I'm talking trucks, SUVs, minivans, your little Honda car. If it could get somewhere, it'll camp. Obviously, their capabilities are vastly different. A little Honda car will go further than you think it will, but also the risk of damage is a lot higher. Other people have rigs that are way more capable than they are, and all that rig is going to do is get them into a really bad situation. I prefer you stay on the less capable rig, build your skills up. Good tires, good undercarriage, good maintenance. We'll get all that into a second here. Um, when you're in a four-wheeled enclosed beautiful box, that's one of the nicest shelters humanity's ever had. Think to the people living in their caves. They would love to have this shelter that drove around with them and just parked, and they could kind of hunt from it and live in it. And yeah, your vehicle is a lot way cool. Everyone's always, oh, what's it take to go camping? And I don't have the gear to go camping. Yes, you do. You grab the comforter off your bed, you grab some snacks, bottle of water, meds, toothbrush, your dog, your lizard, whatever you have. You hit the road. You stop at KFC, you get a bucket of chicken, you pull over somewhere, you stop, you stay overnight. You've done been camping. It's not complicated. You can do it all over the world. Be somewhat prepared to think about it, do a little bit of research, but it's not complicated and you already have the gear. When you're in a vehicle, you also have an AC, you have windows that hopefully roll up, shelter you from the elements. You have a heater, like my Suburban even has an auxiliary heater, so when it's freezing outside, I could have nice, warm, dry air. It could be 70 degrees outside and negative 35 inside, or excuse me, 70 degrees inside, negative 35 outside. I'm digressing here. You have shelter options. You have warmth, all that. On a motorcycle, you don't. You don't have those creature comforts, so you have to plan ahead. With a truck camping, it's real easy to get in it, point and shoot, and just go somewhere. Motorcycle camping, it's not. If it's just me or just a couple of people or following my lead, I tend to have a couple of alternative, like opposite 180-degree options, and we're preparing for both almost up until the last minute, looking at weather reports, conditions, that sort of thing. Because with a motorcycle, you have very narrow windows of stuff you could put up with. You really don't want to get below freezing conditions because the roads are dicey as all heck. But that could also be to your advantage. One time I was camping and I knew I could only get in and out in the morning when it was frozen. Afternoon, end of the day, it was mud slushy pit. So be very mindful at a road that you're going in the morning that has got good traction, because it's frozen. Coming out, it could be a soupy mess in the afternoon. And the second you spin your tires, frozen stuff is now liquid. Anyways, further digressions here in this video will be digressions. You don't have those luxuries with a motorcycle, so you need to be kind of planning. Where I'm at right now, Purgatory, Arizona, it's 110 degrees outside. In three and a half hours, I could drive to a spot where it's going to be 65, 70 degrees outside and in the low 50s at night. That's a drastic swing in temperature, especially when you're used to 90-degree temperatures at night. Your body's not acclimated to it. It's a form of shock. You are going to surprise your body. You have to be well prepared for that, and that's where layers, transitioning, don't tough stuff out. be up on your clothing, alternating in and out, that sort of thing. That really makes a difference, especially when you're motorcycling. But with motorcycling, you're also limited on space and gear that you could have. So you have to be very mindful of what gear you take. And that's where a lot of the real high-end jackets and pants and all that really, when done right, do shine. And go see Fort 9. Brian over there is just, yeah, he's does that stuff very well. You probably know of Fort 9 already. But anyways, not Night, 9. Good gear is just essential on a motorcycle. The next point I want to cover is range. The Suburban, 43-gallon gas tank, I could easily count on a 500-mile range. The motorcycle, it's 6 or 7 gallons. If I'm on and off, mixed off-road with some street, that sort of thing, 100 and a quarter. I plan on about 150 on the highway when I'm doing more highway. Because if I'm strictly on the highway and I'm not flogging it because it's a 4-lane road and everyone's trying to do 90 miles an hour, if I'm doing something sensible, 60, 65, 70, the bike will get closer to an easy 180, closer to 200. I have about a 20-mile fuel range. That is dangerous because a lot of times you're further apart than 20 miles from a fuel stop. That, besides just fuel range and gas costs, the big difference in that is the Suburban, I could literally get off work, throw the perishables in, take a shower, hit the road, and go 4 or 5 hours without even needing to stop. Turn the tunes up, snack on some grapes. You know, I generally get guilty about not letting the dog run around and stretch more than I need to stop. The bike's a different story. The fatigue of just riding, you're a lot more active, you're a lot more in tune with things, you're not just cruising down the road. It wears you out a lot sooner. Wear ear protection on a motorcycle makes a big difference. Listen to stuff that keeps you active. Don't listen to books on tape. Don't listen to heavy metal that gets you all excited. You know, something I really do enjoy classical for down the road. But adventure motorcycles, I don't even have headsets in them anymore. Sennas are nice though. If you're riding in a group and you're with people a lot, Sennas on a motorcycle are beautiful. And what they are is they're sometimes push to talk, most of the time just voice activated communications between your fellow riders, and the meshing networks and all that is just great because it's just like, hey, I need to stop, or hey, did you see that, or hey, blah 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 blah. It's just a wonderfully safe way to communicate with other riders. So if you're traveling in a group, get a Senna. Awesome. But on a motorcycle, because of all the fatigue and all that, you're going to want to stop that every 100 and quarter, 150 miles to stretch the legs, fuel up. For me, it's generally fuel up, top the tank off and that sort of thing, and then I try to pick a spot, go back, stretch the dog, stretch me out, let him run, that sort of thing for a minute. You know, plan that into your trip. That's part of the exciting thing about trip planning is doing all the little mapping apps and digging through iOverlander and there's a few different campsite apps that you could find that people have marked campsites out that are just really good, and then just Google mapping and flipping between like who owns what land. All Trails is kind of useful. There's a On It Hunt one that I really like for who owns land. That just changes everything of where you can stay, where you can camp, rules and all that. And you know, I like running with the law when it makes sense. Well, in general, I run with the law and I don't like to argue it, but laws that make sense, run with. And besides that, stay under the radar. Don't raise red flags and all that sort of thing. The next thing I kind of want to get into is on the topic of range is like with the Suburban, I could easily, or truck camping, car camping, minivan camping, you could cover a lot of miles in a day. You could easily pull into a Walmart, stop, sleep. They're less friendly to that, but you can still find really good places just to pull in and crash out. Motorcycle, you don't have that option. You need to be actually planning your stops, where you're going to go. You do have the option of being sneaky, but if you pull in somewhere too late and it's not a good option, Now things get kind of hurried. You get hurried, you don't make good decisions. The other thing is sneaky spots. You kind of want to go towards the end of the day because you want to be on the down low and that sort of thing. On the note of being sneaky, this more applies to truck camping. But one of my favorite techniques is kind of, one, I'll stop for lunch or a snack or a break, and I'll begin flipping ahead. Okay, I want to go drive 2 or 3 more hours. How many miles? A safe estimate, both ways, I figure 50 miles to an hour of travel. Or for every hour that I'm on the road, if I'm going to be on the road for 2 hours, I roughly figure that I'm only going to cover 100 miles. Because traffic, on and off freeways, stopping and take a whiz, all that. And that's truck camping. Motorcycle is actually kind of a little bit less. It's probably 35, 40 miles to an hour. When you're really factoring everything into the time covered, to stopping to gas, blah, 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 just what I covered. So a truck, it's a lot easier to extend those intervals, get out further, sneaky. But when you are running towards the end of the day and you scoped out a spot, I will like to find a spot that I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to go here and camp. This is my sneaky spot. But you don't want to blow that spot. So you go somewhere else with a better view, more public and all that. You eat your lunch. A lot of times you could just find a Wendy's, go in there and get some, I like chili, fries, some nuggets. It's cheap, it's easy. Then I go into the back of their parking lot. I can stretch out. I like a dog whiz. I'll let my chair out. I'll listen to a book on tape. Sort through my gear, whatever. Take a good hour just to kind of air everything out, air myself out, all that. I don't do cleaning up toiletries and all that. Definitely don't make a mess. Don't burn your welcome, that sort of thing. Clean up after yourself, because the next guy is going to be looked at how you treated the place. So be courteous to your fellow travelers and the places that are optioned to you. People are very welcoming on the road when you're just out having a good time. Talk to people. I found some of the best places by pulling in somewhere, asking them, hey, where do you hang out? Where do you like to go? And if you're cool and friendly and you're not like, hey, I'm a YouTuber and I'm gonna blow your spot up. And when somebody does that, don't blow their spot up. Be very mindful. That's why a lot of my spots, you'll notice, I don't mention, and I'm very vague, because these spots are easy to find, especially in the modern days of the internet. A lot of times if you change a word or two in my video to like a word that seems like it, you'll get right on the spot. Just a little hint there. But part of the adventure is finding these spots, doing that pre-planning, doing all that trip planning and that sort of thing. So just be part of it. Take it in. I found a spot. I was in Utah, passing through, getting lunch. Oh, go right up here. There's a beautiful little valley. I found Eden, Utah. It's way out of the way. Awesomer than heck. But anyways, let's move on. Now I want to talk to you some of the advantages of riding a motorcycle. One, when you're out there on the road, you smell things instantly. That jasmine, that cactus flower, that road tar. Smelling that stuff, and I don't know, just the wind in your hair, and you feel that you go around into a corner into a shaded valley, and it's shaded, but because you just drop down out of this plateau and there's a river down there, and now all those cottonwoods and stuff, you feel that cool, you feel the moisture. You don't get that sheltered behind an AC. So you're in it a lot more, and that to me makes a big difference of why I like riding a motorcycle. Besides all the trip planning, and you have to be on it, and it's less lackadaisy. That stuff excites me because you have to pay attention. One, other road conditions. You just don't cross a bridge lazily. You think about that bridge. You think about what goes wrong if something happens. There's a lot of factors. A truck, they're going down a dirt road, and if it doesn't look right, you stop, you get out. A motorcycle, you don't just start and stop on a motorcycle. Adventure riding, off pavement riding, even dirt road riding is way out of the scope of this video. You don't have those options. You have to be very mindful in a motorcycle. Can I get back up this? You could easily get yourself into a spot with a motorcycle that you're in a bad spot. It's real easy to trip, fall, and falling in your seats 32 inches off the bike, you fall this way, that's roughly 3 feet you're falling to the side. Well, if the trail's only 6 foot or 8 foot wide, and you're riding in the center of it and you fall over, plus your body mass and all that, your head's gonna like go off that trailer, be into the rocks or the trees or whatever's next to it. So that just the level of risk is a lot higher with a motorcycle. So you have to be mindful of that in your trip planning and that sort of thing. But just the nimbleness, the ability to, the sneaky's a lot better with a motorcycle, because you could find a little alcove where the motorcycle easily pulls down into. You set your tent, your hammock up over into this one, into the casual person that drove by, did not notice you. And that's just, for many reasons, a nice thing. Now, excuse me, what I want to talk to you about next is general considerations in your overland rig. Things that you should think about, pay attention to, be it a car, truck, motorcycle, airplane, boat, jet ski, hovercraft. If it transports you and takes you someplace, you need to be mindful of a few things. One, I hate loud exhausts. I hate loud tires. When I go down the highway, I want to just cruise on the highway. I want to listen to my Lewis L'Amour, and I just want to cruise. I don't need all that racket and noise. It adds up to your fatigue. It takes away from your enjoyment. It may sound cool in a parking lot to rev your truck up, those Flowmasters and those big old 3-inch exhausts. Trust me, it wears you out going down the road. Those big knobby tires, that wears you out. I don't like that stuff. To each their own, don't do it. On that subject, good tires, they are your hit to your road, they are your traction, they are the one thing that can kind of leave you stranded, and they're also very dangerous to change, especially in an off-road situation, or even on-road. If you're on the side of the highway, that sort of thing, nothing is ever worth your life. If you have a blowout and you're in a spot where you can't safely get to the side of the road, or you don't have the tools or whatever, carefully drive on that rim to somewhere safe. Screw it. You know, try not to tear the highway up if you can. Well, obviously try to drive in the shoulder. Screw that rim. A couple $100 wheel, whatever, is not worth your life. Drive slowly out of there. Make sure the tire's not going to tear up your wheel well and all that. Drive out of there. If it's a front steer tire, be extra cautious. You won't have steering. Your braking will be funny and all that. But get somewhere safe. Don't just, Off-roading, tires need to be good because they'll get poked and prodded from weird angles. Skid plates are real handy, smart. Bumpers, tow hooks. If you get in a bad spot and somebody comes to help you, they need to have something that they can pull you out with and not pull it off. Overall condition of your vehicle is a big thing. No, it doesn't. I got a truck a couple 100,000 miles on, but I've been through it. I know that truck in and out like the back of my hand. You don't have to be Mr. Gadget on top of it, super savvy with everything. Do what you can. Get friends that are not just, hey, I can help you, friends that are genuinely expert and can teach you about it. Get them to help. Buy them beer, buy them fajitas, whatever it takes to do. Get them involved. That'll make a big difference for you. Just having a community, people to rely on, will make you more confident when you're out on that road, when you're far out, when you're doing that sort of thing. You'll know that, hey, I could get back. Hey, I could fix this. Hey, I have more confidence in my rig because I've done this. Another point I want to note to this is know what's normal on your rig. Know where the gauge normally runs. It doesn't matter what it actually reads. Know where it normally is when you're doing this, when you're climbing a hill, when it's cool out, when it's hot out. Know what that bolt normally looks like. Know that, hey, that shiny spot next to that bolt, that's suspicious. I should look into that. Put a wrench on it. Have a wrench for everything on your bike, car, truck, whatever, that you should be generally touching. If it doesn't look right, seek somebody that does know what looks right. Last little note about gear. Yes, in the past, if you look back at my videos, I've had Jeeps with 3 feet of travel in each corner, crazy over-the-top desert trucks, all kinds of stuff. That stuff's cool and all, but when it comes to adventure camping, 1, I'm a short guy. 2, you got to put stuff in and out of your truck all day. If your tailgate's up here, that sucks for your old lady. That sucks for your kids. That sucks for you. It's not as easy to climb in and out and do things. 2, now your center of gravity's up here. So anytime you're off camper, that little triangle where your wheels are out here to where your center of gravity is, if it's here, it takes a lot of hill for you to trip it and go over. Your center of gravity's up here, you fall over a lot sooner. You're less stable. I don't like roof racks. It adds weight way up high. It's in a bad spot. Light bars, if you're not going Baja and 1,000, why do you need all that light bars? I prefer less light. That way my eyes adjust to what's going on outside. And 2, light bars are just stuff that's going to get tore up, hung up, tear up your rig, more stuff to worry about, more stuff for people to steal about, less that you're going to be able to spend on gas and fajitas to go camping. Now the last major point that I want to make here is adventure is in the attitude. Adventure's in you. Adventure is in just getting out and doing something. If you have the spirit to, hey, I can figure this out, I can make it happen, I could do this, you're doing it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's a sled, and my first camping experience was behind my Power Wheels with a little hand truck, a cardboard box. On Sundays when my dad had the shop to himself, or the complex that his shop was in to himself, I would head out as a young kid, I'm talking 8, 9 years old, in my little cardboard camper out to that tree, and I would camp. Because it's in your attitude. It's who you want to be. Anyways, I'm Adventure Brad, y'all. You go have fun out there now.